Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking Pro Line Balls, and we're going to be talking to an ambassador of Pro Line Balls, former Major League pitcher, and now head of the Native Nations Baseball, DJ Carrasco, a pitcher near and dear to my heart. I remember watching him pitch for the Mets for a while. But DJ, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. We're going to talk a little bit of Native Nations and a little Pro Line.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
The biggest thing I would like for you to discuss is talk a little bit about the Native Nation. You're the founder of this particular program, and I would love for you to share with parents and athletes across the country, really across North America, a little bit about how you got started with that and where it is today with regard to its place within the World Baseball Classic.
So it was a seed that started over a decade ago after my playing days. Unfortunately, I lost my mother when I was a freshman in college in New Zealand. And when I retired from playing ball professionally, me and my wife took the time to go back to New Zealand to kind of walk her footsteps and see what happened. And you have this idea of what this country looks like that took somebody so precious from you. And when you get there, New Zealand is an absolutely stunning place in this world that we say God goes to vacation there because it's just stunning. And so part of that, she passed away on a sacred Maori river, the Terramacau River in the South Island. And just in kind of just taking in all the culture, all the people, we wanted to go back after we got home. And we said, how can we go back? And baseball was a natural fit. I called some people at MLB. There was a gentleman running their national program there. And we just kind of put it together. So I went ahead and helped out for the next 10 years from grassroots, from Little League to Kiwi ball, which is taught in schools, all the way to a WBC competition, helping the Maori and the Kiwis alike there. And that turned into the seed when I got back home here years later. I just started looking around and thinking, as this last WBC tour kind of happened and how amazing that tournament was, why is there not Native American representation? Because we have the Maori representation in the WBC. So I'm on year 3 now, knocking down walls and barriers and talking to people that have, that are listening to this stuff, and hats off to them. And I thank them for being so open-minded to kind of start including this. So the long game here is, I want some Olympic representation at the end of this. Like, I think we can put a case together for ourselves. There's some precedents in the making now with the lacrosse team from our cousins in the Northeast. If that happens, I think it's logical that baseball and every other sport, basketball, will be in the games as well. I started to try and lobby to get into the WBC. Fell short of that funding wise, and that's still our goal. But now we're starting back at the youth, at the foundational level. We have our first national inaugural tournament next weekend at Salt River Talking Stick Fields on the Colorado Rockies side. We will have an all-star team that will go to represent Native Nations, a part of 574 sovereign recognized tribes that compete in their World Series, a true World Series with countries from all around the world. So this is our first step. We're excited about it. We'll be rolling out softball next year. So just look forward for us to be everywhere. We want to model ourselves after USA baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever it may be. That's kind of the long vision that we all have here.
Well, I think that's a tremendous, to be a founder of a potentially long entity and participant within the Olympics. That would be a great accomplishment on your behalf. So kudos to you.
Well,
would love to talk with you a little bit about your training. Where do you get your teams that are coming in, to the Rockies complex in Salt Stick? Where do you get them? How do you get them training? How do you get them together and organize themselves across the country?
So year 1, as far as training goes, we are offering separate of our tournament camps and clinics that go around the country to Native communities that we will help upskill, stretch, run, throw, strength, injury prevention. Like I'm covering the whole gamut. I was a tinker as a player, and I had the fortune to be a scout and a coach with the Dodgers and see how they develop talent. They do a really, really good job, I believe, in all different angles to personalize these specific activities for growth. But as far as the tournament goes, we are not necessarily practicing. I've gotten pictures and videos from teams that are excited to be in this, that are practicing on their own. But there's a very unique, I would say, thing that just popped up in doing this tournament, and it's a free agent portal. I seen the need for these native athletes that might be in an inner city that don't have a lot of native players to field a team, or they might be geographically challenged and they just don't have fields or a team. And so they would have been excluded if they were on a team only kind of deal. So I thought I might have 8 to 12 free agents sign up for this tournament. We got over 55 the last time I looked. Yes.
Wow.
And it's been a bear on my end because there's really no products out there that I know of yet that help move all the pieces and put a pitcher here and keep your roster under that there and make sure you got it, and so it's fun. It's tedious. Like you said, it's as a founder, I've gotten into the deep end really quick, and we have really high aspirations for the future, but we got to start somewhere. And I think this is going to be an amazing event. We have chairmen from across the country supporting this. Some are actually going to be staying at the party house, I call it. It's probably going to be about 12 or 13 of us at a house that a buddy donated for us to just kind of crash at night and come back and do the tournament the next day. So.
Well, talk a little bit about your involvement with Pro Line balls as far as how do you utilize them and how do they help you with regard to training your athletes when they come into these events and camps that you put together?
Yeah, so Pro Line is great. I love David over there. They do a great job and they really support us. They believe in our mission, and so I can't say enough for him to helping us out there. So the way Native Nations will use them, actually, we're going to be using them in a week from today. And Friday night, we're going to be doing a skills and kind of home run competition. And so we'll be using Pro Line balls to do our home run competition. And there's a little bunt fest as part of that for scoring, but everybody knows how home run derby goes. Everybody's going to get excited for that. Right. But at an elite level, also Native Nations uses it for mass fungos, ground balls. Guys don't have to get scared of short hops. You can do a lot more high repetitious drills without those younger kids flinching and being worried, and then you can start bringing in real baseballs later. So as a training tool, there's some great things to it away from hitting the ball. That for pitching, there's not a ton. There's some chaos type training drills, that some underload type feels to it that I think are important for kids that lack a little bit of feel. You can start kind of switching in different textures and weights and stuff like that. That'll kind of just have them focus on feel. But it really shines when it comes to hitting, right? And you can repeat the movements. It's accuracy, it's precision, the ability for hitters to take way more swings than normal, maybe on a rehab assignment, a hamate bone injury, a hand that's hurting, like whatever that may be. To be able to, at an elite level, these major league teams now have machines that will dial in what Jacob deGrom slider looks like, what his fastball, induced vertical break might be, paired with a split finger or whatever that pitch might be. These Pro Line balls are able to replicate that and do it at a consistent basis. That's really hard to do, feeding a two-seam baseball that might just shoot the other way or might run in and hurt a $20 million hitter's hands. There's a lot to be said for consistency and accuracy and so on and so forth.
One of the things that you mentioned, especially with regard to the younger players, when I talk younger players, I mean anywhere from middle school through high school, is the elimination of fear. But the only way that you can get better is by, working with velocity, whether you're a catcher, a fielder, obviously as a hitter. Talk a little bit about the Pro Line ball from the perspective of the safety and the injury prevention, while at the same time being able to train as you would as a professional athlete at the younger age.
So the name of the game is keeping your athletes on the field, right? Because your best athletes are the ones you want to play every day. You mentioned catching, yes, there's some framing work you can do, but those blocks that you have to have that accidentally go off a bicep and put your guy out. Now he doesn't want to throw down to second. Catching is such an underappreciated position that they get beat up, and to be able to take some of that out while they can still do their daily routine is massive at any level. Another one for safety that comes to mind is sunballs in the outfield. Right. That's a scary thing to do, is try and catch a ball this directly in the sun. So you can work on your routine, your mechanics of it, blocking the sun, and know that if you get hit, it's going to bounce off a shoulder or something. It's not going to put you out or break a clavicle. So to your point, any fear that you can take out earlier than later, even in batting practice. I remember as a little kid getting hit and it hurt, and it stuck with me for a season and a half before I finally, heck, even now I wear elbow pads because I don't want to be hurt. I'm not scared of it. I just don't want to hurt for a week and a half. So it's ideal for a lot of different things away from actual truly gameplay where you have to use a regulated baseball.
So I talk to a lot of college coaches, and a lot of college coaches are always asking me about, more from the composition of the ball itself and the resiliency. Does it break apart? Does it shred? How many uses will I get out of the ball? And does it really simulate a regulation baseball? Meaning, if I'm going to put my guys in a hack attack and I need to face, 92, 93, or I want to work a slider, an aggressive slider, 88, 87, et cetera. How durable, when you're using the Pro Line balls, how durable are they? And do they actually simulate those types of movement patterns, as you mentioned, of a DeGrom or a Clayton Kershaw, curveball, et cetera? Do they really simulate that type of a major league pitch?
Yeah, if you have the machine that can spin off axes and stuff like that, yes, they can be consistently at whatever RPMs you want and whatever vertical and induced breaks you can get them. When it comes to major leaguers hitting it, obviously they impact the ball a little bit more than an amateur would. But these things are durable. I mean, I haven't cracked one yet. I've gone through several, I'm not gonna say several hundred, but at least 100 of them with ground balls and hitting and batting practice and fungos and so on and so forth. And they're built to last. Like, the product wouldn't be as good as it is if it failed in 2 batting practices. So.
You mentioned the ground balls, and I don't think, we talk enough about the younger levels, like wall ball, things that you can do on your own where you don't need a coach to actually hit you a fungo. Have you ever used the wall, the Pro Line balls with like a wall ball setting, or, maybe even a racket of some kind for a dad that might not be as skilled with the fungo as a coach might be?
I didn't even think about the racket, but I think that would actually be a great idea. I've seen guys do it, but I didn't even think about doing it with Pro Line. I guess I can hit with the fungo just fine, but that might be my next kind of deal, just to kind of keep it easy, one-handed. But I'm a big fan of wall ball. Take the glove off, go against the wall, something hard, and start spinning it and throwing it and trying to barehand it and backhand it and everything you can do. Like, I think you'd always need to practice without that glove, and this allows you to actually get some velocity back off the wall to simulate some ground balls or comebackers or short hops, whatever it might be you're working on.
Well, the last thing I want to ask you is, if a student athlete or family watches something like this, how would they be able to contact you with regard to the Native Nations program, or as a free agent, as you alluded to earlier? How can they reach out to you and contact you to be a participant, maybe even as a young student athlete that really wants to be a part of this on a long-term basis?
So I think the easiest is just going to our website at nativenations.com. It's spelt with 7s, not T's, NA7IVE, NA7IONS.com. So 7 is very special for 7 generational thinking in Native and indigenous cultures. It's something that I always harp on, that the world would be a better place if everybody had practiced that thinking. And it's basically every decision you make now will affect 7 generations in the future. Some tribes are a little bit different, where it's respect out of the 3 generations to the past, yourself as a generation, and 3 in the future. But it's basically forward thinking and leaving this place better to those that are going to be coming before us. So that's an easy way. Our socials were Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn for the older crowds. So if you want to have any support that way, please come over and say hi. And just, if you want to volunteer or coach or have us in one of your towns to, in the future, hit us up on our socials or our webpage.
Well, I'm out here in the Northeast, and if you ever need a hand up here, I can absolutely connect you with all sorts of people out this way. And I want to encourage parents. It's going to be in the description, not only for Coach Carrasco, but his Native Nations, the program, all of the social media, as well as his contact information. It's okay to find him in the Baseball Blue Book as well. DJ, thank you so much for taking the time to share a little bit about Native Nations and some Pro Line balls. Thank you for having me. It was a blast. I appreciate it. Parents, I really encourage you now. That's someone you should be following on your social media profiles, especially those that may be in states where they don't have a Native Nations team. But, reach out to DJ and make sure that you're able to either work out as a free agent or to attend some of his upcoming camps. Thank you again, DJ.